He wanted to buy a more expensive suit. However, his wife looked at the price and found it to be $2,400. She told him to take it off immediately and promised to buy him a cake as compensation. But this time, he didn't want to compromise anymore. He was tired of the monotonous and mundane life. He didn't want to repeat the mundane tasks he did every day. He shouted at his wife, unable to believe that he had given up his dreams for this mediocre life. He could have worked on Wall Street. The once kind and considerate husband seemed to have disappeared. Kate said, "If you want to buy it, go ahead. Use our children's college tuition to buy it." Fuming, Jack took off the suit and accepted the cake his wife offered. On the way home, both of them were lost in their own thoughts. However, Kate didn't know that Jack wasn't really her husband. 13 years ago, Jack and Kate had just graduated from college. In search of better career prospects, he bid farewell to Kate, who deeply loved him, and went to London, a big city, for an internship. 13 years later, he had become a financial tycoon with billions of dollars in assets in downtown New York. He was surrounded by different beautiful women, and he lived in an apartment overlooking the bustling city. He commuted in his sports car every day. Meanwhile, Kate had long been left behind by him. On Christmas Eve, while everyone else was going home to celebrate, Jack was still at the office. Tomorrow, he would handle the $120 billion merger and acquisition case, but his life was always empty. Looking out at the bustling traffic outside the window, Jack decided to walk home this time. At an intersection, snowflakes fell gently. Jack's fate was about to change. He entered a grocery store, followed closely by a man. The man took out a lottery ticket, wanting to redeem it, but the cashier immediately said there was a problem with the ticket without even looking at it, accusing the man of altering the numbers with a pencil. Cash hoped he could see more clearly, but the cashier's terrible attitude was unbearable. Cash pulled out a gun directly from his pocket. Sensing that something bad was about to happen, Jack decided to take a stand. He bought the winning ticket for $200 and resolved the crisis. The two of them walked outside. Jack persuaded Cash not to carry a gun as it could lead to irreversible consequences with a single mistake. Jack's words unexpectedly touched Cash, who told Jack that he was a Christmas angel and that Jack would enjoy the upcoming journey. From that moment on, Jack's destiny began to change. He returned to his apartment and slept on his comfortable bed as usual. But on that night, everything changed. When he woke up, he found a woman lying next to him. It was Kate, his former girlfriend from 13 years ago. Jack had somehow ended up in a parallel universe where he and Kate were raising two children together and living in an ordinary house. Jack suddenly remembered that he had to deal with the $120 billion merger today, so he hurriedly got dressed. His Ferrari had turned into a beaten-up van, but he had no time to worry about it. After driving for over an hour from the suburbs, he arrived at the city center. However, the security guard at his apartment stopped him. Even the neighbor downstairs didn't recognize him. Jack had no choice but to turn back and go to the office. Yet, even the receptionist no longer recognized him. Frustrated, Jack pointed the staff list, hoping to prove his position, but he found that the name had changed. Jack left the building disoriented and saw a Ferrari parked in front of him. The person inside was Cash, whom he had met last night. The car he was driving now had originally belonged to Jack. Cash explained that it was a reward for him, allowing him to experience a different kind of life and understand the true meaning of life. After driving around the city for a while, they stopped in front of Jack's office. Cash then handed Jack a bicycle bell. Jack asked if Cash would appear in front of him when he rang the bell. Cash didn't say anything and drove away after Jack got off the car. Jack had no choice but to return to the suburbs. However, in his haste, he forgot which house was his. He asked a man for directions, and he turned out to be Jack's best friend in this world. With his friend's help, Jack made it back home. In his friend's eyes, Jack was a successful person with a beautiful wife and two lovely children. Seeing Jack's troubled mood, his friend thought he was going through a midlife crisis. He said back when he almost cheated his wife, it was Jack talked him back. Jack once said, "Don't screw up the best thing in your life." Now, his friend wanted Jack to think about the words he used to say. However, Jack was confused because that was not like the things he would said. Jack nervously returned home, and Kate gave him a big hug. She had contacted everyone she knew and even called the police to find him. After hanging up the phone, Kate complained about how he had left without a word, unaware of how worried she had been. For the first time, Jack experienced the sincere and passionate concern of others. Jack wanted to explain everything that had happened, but Kate thought he was joking. Then, Jack pulled out the bicycle bell, hoping to call Cash to come. However, to his surprise, it was their daughter who came, thinking it was a gift for her, and took it away. Jack was forced to accept the situation. Kate informed him that they were supposed to attend a friend's party later. Jack opened his wardrobe. It was filled with cheap clothes. The half-suit he used to own could buy a whole wardrobe of clothes here. At that moment, their daughter walked in, but as soon as she saw Jack, she ran away. She knew that he wasn't her father. The two of them attended the party, and an attractive woman helped Jack take off his coat. It was clear that she seemed to like him. After enduring the boring party, they returned home. Kate asked him to take the dog out for a walk. Although reluctant, he still went. Back at home, he found clean pajamas prepared for him on the bed. This was a kind of love he had never experienced before. The next morning, as he woke up, he reached out and found no one beside him. He thought his life was finally back to normal, but the sound of a child crying brought him back to reality. It turned out to be Jack's turn to take care of the kids today. Jack awkwardly changed his son's diaper with his daughter's help. Seeing him fumbling around, the little girl straightforwardly said, "Are you not my dad?" Jack was overjoyed. Finally, someone understood him. Jack explained his situation to his daughter, but she believed he was sent by aliens and welcomed him to Earth. And so, she became Jack's guide in this world. Guided by his daughter, he dropped off his younger son at the daycare center and his daughter at the kindergarten. Jack's job was to sell tires at his father-in-law's tire shop, working 8 hours a day. His office was adorned with his daughter's drawings. Looking at the photo of himself and Kate smiling together, he didn't know what he was laughing at in the picture, but it was actually his heartfelt happiness. Seeing his Employee of the Year award from 1988 next to it, he reminisced about another world where he was building his career in London. Jack couldn't understand why he was wasting his talent in this place. One evening, Jack saw the news. The $12 billion merger that was originally his was completed by his coworkers. Jack was furious. Kate came in and said the kids were asleep. She turned off the TV and turned on some music, not wanting to miss this rare moment of alone time. It was then that Jack realized the dazzling girl from the past was still as beautiful. Kate was happy to hear her husband's compliment. She went into the bathroom and prepared a surprise for him, but Jack had already fallen asleep. Kate lovingly tucked him in and kissed her beloved man. She turned off the music, thus ending their alone time. But Jack was actually not asleep. His emotions had never been as complex as they were today. On this day, the family went to the mall. Jack didn't want to walk any longer. Kate asked him to rest in the men's clothing area. Jack happened to find a suit that caught his eye, but the expensive price made Kate hesitate. She told Jack to take off the suit quickly. The repressed life finally made Jack burst out. On the way home, Jack apologized to Kate. She gladly accepted. The two started talking about their past. They moved from the city to the suburbs for the children. Taking over his father-in-law's tire shop was also a necessity because his father-in-law had a heart condition. Jack finally understood that it was these events that had ruined his future in this world. But Kate didn't agree. She believed she had lived a fulfilling life all these years. On their day off, he played bowling with friends. During the break, he met the woman he had encountered at a previous party. Based on her behavior towards him last time, Jack subtly asked her if there was something going on between them. The woman confessed everything. In fact, the revealing dress she wore at the party was for him. She invited Jack to her house over the weekend because she would be alone. Jack shared his experience with his friend and asked for the woman's address. The friend couldn't believe Jack would do such a thing when he heard they would take it to the next level. But he believed it was okay as long as it wasn't discovered. Disappointed, Jack's friend told him that he had the best wife in the world and now he was ruining it for another woman. Back at home, he found the cake he had left in the refrigerator was gone. Kate deliberately took a bite in front of him. The two played and chased each other around in the room. In that moment, he experienced the joy of being with his loved one. In the room that day, he found a videotape of himself singing. He curiously played it. It was a recording of Kate's 22nd birthday party and Jack sang her a song. At first, Jack couldn't stand the cheesiness in the video, but gradually he was moved. Jack stared at the recording, realizing how much he loved her in this world. This sincere love was something he had never experienced in the money-driven world. Tears welled up in Jack's eyes. This world didn't seem so bad after all. There is no substitute for the original movie. A good film is worth watching it yourself. But you don't know where you can watch these movies? Use Superbox. With Superbox, you can access all live TV channels in 4K quality. It also provides access to over 13,000 movies and series, and updates with the newest content very often. The total cost for one of these is 2 months of your cable bill. Then you never have to pay fees or bills ever again. Click the link in my bio and use my code to get it at a better price.